I have not seen, Jeff, anyone pick Oklahoma. I haven't seen anybody have the stones to not take Dan Hurley winning a game.
And the only way Oklahoma wins this is if Jeremiah Fears, who is a super talented freshman, and he's done this before this year, goes off for 30. And he can. I mean, I've talked to their assistant, Josh Oppenheimer, about him at length. And Josh came over from the NBA with the Bucks. He worked with Giannis, and he's working with Jeremiah all year. And he raves about this kid. And you can see why. I mean, the only thing he needs is to get stronger. That's the only issue. And UConn's got, they got some, men out there. They got some bigger, stronger wings that they can throw on him. But I think Fears, if he can go for 30+, an efficient 30+, maybe Oklahoma can pull the upset. Who knows?
Rob, do you have any thoughts on this? You seem to like the way UConn matches up with Oklahoma.
Yeah, I do. I think on paper, what Oklahoma does well matches up well with what UConn does well, in the sense that UConn kind of struggles defensively, especially when you have multiple guys that you can kind of scheme up into being able to attack in one-on-one situations. And then when you have a lot of off-ball action, and what Oklahoma really does is just try to put Jeremiah Fears in ball screen actions. They don't really do much on the weak side of the ball. They don't really do much off the ball. And if it's not that, then they try to swing it back and either get an open three or get Jalen Moore attacking. And I think that UConn is able, UConn should be able to guard well enough there and make it difficult and keep Jeremiah Fears from going off. But Oklahoma's won 6 games against top 35 KenPom opponents, guys. And in 5 of those 6, he's scored at least 26 points. The only one he didn't was the game against Louisville that Oklahoma won when Cason Pryor tore his ACL. So if you slow down Jeremiah Fears, you're going to beat Oklahoma. That's not exactly breaking news, but I think that UConn's got the bodies to be able to keep in front of him in those ball screen actions and kind of keep him from getting loose.
It is a good point to this UConn team overall, because 2 years ago they had Andre Jackson. Last year they had Steph Castle. They've gotten better defensively this year. They put together some good halves at the Big East tournament, but they haven't had the same type of stalwart perimeter defender. They've just progressed in that area. And I do think this is a game where Oklahoma's 70th in KenPom defensive efficiency. That spells trouble against a shot-making team in the Huskies. If Liam McNeely, guys, I'm going to tell you this. He walked out to the court Friday night at the Garden. He was pissed. And he said, this is just not. He goes, I came to UConn to win it all. And I talked to him for a little bit. I said, hey, man, I get that. I said, but at the end of the day, you have to show up to the tournament and play your best basketball. I'm like, look at the double-digit seeds that show up and pull off shockers. I'm like, you just got to do your thing. And we kind of talked for a little bit, and he said, yeah, that's what I'm holding out hope with. Like, I'm not saying it happens, but I will say this, Jeff. The image of Golden walking on the tunnel, he's 39, and you got to go up against a coach who's won back-to-back natties and is going to say, you know what, man, everybody's counted us out. Let's just play. Let's just play. And that's why you play these games. We could talk all we want about why a team's better than the other, but there's always 2 or 3 things that we come on the air and we say, how the hell did that happen?
Oh, and they'll be that, right? I mean, there's going to be a few of those. Rob's saying, you can't see a number one losing, but trust me, there aren't going to be 4 number ones going there. You're going to look at it and be like, how did that happen at the end of the day? How did Gonzaga beat Houston or something crazy like that?
Do you think that can happen? Do you think Gonzaga can beat Houston?
Probably not. But again, who knows? I mean, they still have one of the best point guards in the country. They're old. Graham Ike's got to be, 24 years old by now. It feels like he's been around forever. They've got, guys who can step out and make shots. They haven't necessarily done it this year, but, they're still Gonzaga, right? They're still Gonzaga. They still have that culture. They still know how to win. They expect to win when they get to the NCAA tournament, even if they are in that 8-9 matchup.
I don't like that matchup at all for Gonzaga. So much of what they do is, they'll come down and they try to get stuff in transition, and then it's run their continuity ball screen and try to get seals in. And the way that Houston just puts 2 on the ball and traps you off those ball screens, I I think
maybe
you
it's
need multiple
Clemson.
playmakers.
All I'm saying is maybe
Yeah.
it's Clemson who gets Houston. That's a better matchup for sure physically.